Well, my first editing experience was probably the most interesting, and that was it went through two line by line edits. She actually, this was with the field. She actually gave me a little bit of developmental stuff too, ideas here and there. So I just hired her as a copywriter or a copy editor, but she kind of did more of that. It took an extremely long amount of time. It was clear that I was a novice, that there was a lot of things I didn't think of, but I butted heads with her a lot because I think that's another tough thing to do is when you're working with an editor is to listen to them. You know, you've lived in this story for so long, you think you know what's best for everything, but just be open to criticism, be open to changing something if it might need to be. Not to say you have to change it. Maybe you do know the story better. But it was a long, arduous months and months and months. Sometimes I thought she dropped off the face of the earth. I'm like, where are you? Like, I want to get this out there. So I had no expectations. I guess I kind of thought like she'd read it, give me some copy feedback, like grammar stuff, and we'd be done. Turned into a much larger project. But on that note, I also say this a lot too when people are asking me, it's not just getting any editor. Sometimes you have to go through multiple editors to find the editor that's right for you, because every writer is unique. They have a unique voice. They're trying to tell certain stories. Those certain stories, as objective, I think, as editors try to be, they're all people. You know, art is subjective. And so they're looking at these books and thinking, they're giving you feedback, but a lot of it might be through the lens of just they don't like this kind of genre, or they don't like this style of writing, or this thematic stuff you're doing here. And so they're trying to mold it in such a way that they think is right, even though, again, everything's subjective. So I've gone through three or four editors. I've used 4 different editors for different things. The latest editor I have, she's great. I think she gets what I'm trying to do. I'll go on their websites, look at what kind of books they like. That's one thing I did when I found her. I think I found her on Reddit or something. And then I went to her website and I was like, oh, wow, she likes House of Leaves. She likes all these things. So she kind of gets those kinds of narratives that I appreciate. And that's always a big thing. So a lot of times writers will go to editors and say, oh, I'll just find someone who does sci-fi or fantasy. It's like, it's more than that. And unfortunately, there's no real way to figure that out until you work with them. And either they click or they don't. But yeah, I would just stress, because this was really difficult for me to deal with an editor for a long time, is that be open to the criticism. You know, you're not always right. You think you're right. You think you know the story. You think you know what you're doing. But they often will have valuable insight because, you know, that's what they do. They edit books. And I know receiving criticism is difficult for a lot of people, especially first-time writers, because you become really resilient, or not resilient, but resistant to receiving that feedback because it's precious to you. You're like, this is my thing. I poured my heart into this thing and hours and hours and hours, and now you say it sucks. Now you say I need to change this. Now you need to say like this isn't working, and that's hard to hear because of how much time you put into it. But let that feeling like wash over you, like embrace it, but then push it aside because you're going to be better for it. And it's helped me get criticisms even from people who read my stuff. So I get plenty of like, I didn't get the plot. This is boring. You know, this is stupid, whatever. And you just, you get a thick skin. And I would say, not only when you work with an editor, but when you get reviews, like use that as a learning experience to move forward.